Blast me to the Ramesses system. It's time for the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey. Issue 88. Redemptor Dreadnought Part 3. Full coverage. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey, where we are concluding our Part 3 of the Redemptor Dreadnought with issue 88. As you can see, I have the Redemptor Dreadnought already built and painted, ready to use with the magazine. That's because I picked up 3 copies of this issue, as I've wanted to add additional ones to my other Space Marine armies. So yeah, we'll take a closer look at this guy towards the end of the video. But before all that, don't forget to, of course, like this video if you are enjoying the content. And if you are, please do also subscribe to the channel, as it's the only way you can keep up to date with all the mad content I'm bringing you. Finally, if you'd like to help support the channel, there's of course the Mad Men's Patreon, which is linked in the description down below. And there's also the comment section, so drop me a comment down below about your favourite Redemptor Dreadnought build. So yeah, let's dive then into 88. We'll take a look at our frame first off, and then we'll take a look through our magazine. So here we have our frame, and in this issue we also get our base, which is a 90mm base. So yeah, nice large base, gives you plenty of space to add some extra details. I've detailed my previous Redemptor Dreadnought I built to add to the collection, which was done a long time ago. It was actually using a easy build Redemptor Dreadnought that I had lying around since the days of Conquest. And I ended up putting a dead Necron crawling away from being stomped on. So yeah, really cool, plenty of space to add extra detail to your model. And here we have the frame then. So we got all the final components. We got the 2 halves with the arm sockets there, the remaining half of the actual internal body, the bottom half of the main body there, parts of the legs, the armor plating, the exhaust for the power pack, cables leading to the power pack as well there, the heel there, top half of the chassis. As you flip over, we can see all the other components. So we've got some nice detail there. We've got the top half of the top part of the sarcophagus there, and some extra lights and details. Pretty cool. You've got the inside and the back part there of the front hatch for the sarcophagus. And yeah, there's our legs. As you can see, not much else there. Like I said, just the complete parts that we need to finish off our Redemptor. Right, let's take a look through issue 88 then. We've got some good stuff to look at. Here we have issue 88. We've got a story featuring our Dreadnought. We learn about some more Space Marine heroes, and we fight for Jala. So our full contents is Arjak Rockfist and Harold Deathwolf, Tyranids Weapons of the Swarm, Obelisk and Lyrak Part 5, Eternal Duty, our story, and we learn about Warzone Terror. We have a paint guide about the Redemptor Dreadnought, and we have the campaign mission War on Jala. So starting things off, we have Arjak Rockfist, the Anvil of Fenris. The chosen champion of Logan Grimnar, Arjak Rockfist is one of the mightiest warriors in the galaxy. Colossal even by the standards of the Adeptus Astartes, his raw strength is matched only by his loyalty to the chapter and chapter master. So, he was a tall man even before he became a Space Marine. He was inducted into the Iron Priesthood and served as a Tech Marine of the Space Wolves chapter. When Logan Grimnar arrived to a battle where only Arjak was the remaining survivor, Logan took it as a sign and took him as his own personal bodyguard and champion. So yeah, he wields a mighty hammer and a storm shield, and will defend Chapter and Chapter Master to his dying days. Another great hero of the Space Wolves is Harald Deathwolf, Lord of the Wolfkin. So Harald Deathwolf is the Lord of the Deathwolves and the greatest hunter in the chapter. It is said that his senses are so keen that he can smell fear. His great company includes a host of wolf beasts, both cybernetic and organic. The largest of these beasts serve as steeds for Harold and his company's elite. So yeah, nice ability to smell fear. And what does it smell like? Chocolate chip cookies. Yeah, very well known. Fear smells like chocolate chip cookies. But yeah, this details Harold Deathwolf, who rides a gigantic Fenrisian wolf. And of course, his company is known as the Deathwolves. So yeah, goes on to detail Harold was the person who discovered the first bands of Wolfen, who believe are survivors of the 13th Great Company, which has gone missing. But yeah, the Deathwolves make use of both Fenrisian wolves and gigantic thunder wolves as they storm across the battlefield to get to their enemies and chop them up in close combat. Continuing our focus on Tyranids, this looks at the different weapons of the swarm. The weapons borne by Tyranid creatures are no simple constructs. Each is a symbiotic bioform, evolved specifically for the task at hand. These weapons are no less effective than the technological instruments of destruction wielded by other races in the galaxy. So Gallius continues his report here on how the Tyranids go to war. This report focusing on their bioweapons. Over the page, then we have a look at a few of the bioweapons. So we have the Flesh Borer, Devourer, and Spine Fists used by the Termagants. We have the Rending Claws, most notably used by the Gene Stealers. Bone Swords, often wielded by warriors and even the Hive Tyrants. And finally, we have Scything Talons, pretty much a common place among all Tyranids, but the lowly Hormagaunts will often wield them, as will other creatures, using them as paired weapons with other weapons such as the Bone Swords and Rending Claws. So yeah, each of these guns is pretty much alive. It's a symbiotic creature that feeds off its host and will fire various different ammunition, from small grubs to spiked needles. Moving on then, we have the Obelisk and Lyrak Phase 5. So this sees the traitor titans of Legio Morbidus spearhead against General Kling's Macro Sanctorum in the final battles against the Death Guard for Metallica. So yeah, campaign is in full swing now, and we are coming towards the end. So Metallica was pretty much left by Typhus in a paralysed state. For several cycles, production has reduced to less than a third of its pre-war output. And yeah, it's taking a while to recover, but it's getting there. With Typhus's departure and the arrival of battle group Tarsus from Rabute's Indomitus Crusade, Warzone Sharadon was declared pacified. So yeah, a Imperial victory, but not an easy fought Imperial victory. Our short story for the issue is Eternal Duty. The Space Marine serves for life and is only granted release from his duties by honourable death in combat. Those wounded or crippled beyond the ability to serve are granted a swift death, or, should they be judged heroic enough, entombed in the body of a dreadnought. So yeah, rather nice short story, giving us the point of view of a Space Marine who is injured through battle And though saved from death, he is sadly not fit enough for duty and is so entombed by the Tech Marines in a Dreadnought sarcophagus before being unleashed upon the enemy. Taking a look then at a brand new Warzone, this one is Warzone Terror. Even the seemingly impregnable bastion that is Holy Terror is not immune to the alien menace. Deep beneath the sprawling spires of humanity's cradle, mutant gene-stealer cultists rise up in rebellion. So just when you thought it was safe to stay at home, the gene-stealer cults come knocking. And yeah, it wasn't exactly a forewarned assault. It took many years to build up, but like I said, they never saw it coming. And the Adeptus Custodes and the Sisters of Silence were first and foremost amongst the Imperium's defenders, fighting off against the worms of the Tendril Hive cult. Trajan Valoris led the assault, Captain General of the Adeptus Custodes. He is the greatest, many claim he's the greatest warrior to ever held his title. He is responsible for the security and defense of the Sol System, Terra, and even the Emperor himself. He even has the rank of a High Lord. And like I said, he is the Grand Master of the Adeptus Custodes. Then we have a little bit more information about the solar fastness and the rankings here of the galaxy. So Mercury, Venus, the Officio Saturnorum, Astromilitarum, Inquisition, Militarum Tempestus, Adeptus Custodes, Adeptus Mechanicus, all part of Holy Terror, and Mars. Jupiter on Saturn, Saturn's moon Titan are the Grey Knights, and then the Imperial Navy is on the very far reaches of the solar system around Uranus and Neptune. Now then, let's take a look then at our paint guide for the Redemptor Dreadnought. So we want to start by coating the model with Abaddon Black. Before we start picking out the silver details with Lead Belcher, being careful around areas where there's joints in the armour. Taking your time, there are lots of small details, gaps in fingers, parts of the weapons, etc. So take your time. Then we start painting the plating with Macragge Blue. We also pick out the plasma coils on the macroplasma accelerator. So you may want to take your time, paint one half at a time, so that you don't accidentally rub off paint while after applying it and it's still being wet. Moving on, we start picking out more metallics with Retributor Armour, gold around the trim of the sarcophagus and the Aquila on the front. Runelord Brass is used on the casings and fuel canisters for the weapons and any skulls dotted around the model. Rakar Flesh is used to paint the scrolls. Mephiston Red used to pick out the red details, including cables, lights, the small bit of cord on the reef there. And then Corax White is used to prepare yellow cables, picking out the tips of the missiles, the light, and the Cog Mechanicus. And the worst thing to do is prepare it for painting the laurels, because we do it the Tesseract Glow method, which just does not leave a rather nice effect. It's too bright, and even though we do shade over it later with non-oil, it's still too bright. But speaking of non-oil, we then start to shade. So we are shading pretty much the entire model except for the gold and the red and Rakar Flesh details. So just take your time, shade part at a time so you don't get paint over your fingers. Making sure you cover all of the deep recesses around the cables here. Paint the laurels there. Then we're using Cryptic Armor Shade Gloss on any of the Runelord Brass details, Right Flesh Shade on our gold, and Agrax Earth Shade finally on the parchment and red details. Finally, we're starting our highlights. So we start with Dawnstone on the black, Stormhost Silver on all our metallics. There's quite a lot, so take your time. We then start to relayer the armour with Macragge Blue before highlighting with Calgar Blue. Highlighting the plasma coils with Calgar Blue. A little extra step I did was to highlight the very top parts with Corax White. Wild Rider Red is brought in to pick out all the tops of the red cables. Rakoff Flesh is used to relayer the scrolls before Powder Witch Flesh highlight. Euro Yellow is used to paint the lighting. Then White Scar is used to put a little line just to add emphasis to the glow on the light and picking out the details on the Cog Mechanicus. Then we paint our hazard stripes in our usual manner before basing in, again, our usual manner. And there we have our finished Redemptor Dreadnought, and I'll bring mine in shortly. So first off though, we'll take a look then at our latest War Zone campaign mission, the War on Jala. So we have 4 battle mats, corner deployment zones, and the Necrons are trying to destroy the idols of the Emperor with a specific action, where the Imperium are trying to defend. And looking forward to our final 2 issues then, we have 89 Lord and Curia Draxus with build and paint guides and a datasheet. And in our final issue, issue 90, we get Illuminor Zaras, building and painting him, and the final mission of the campaign. So let's bring in my Redemptor Dreadnought then. Here we have my finished Redemptor Dreadnought, and I've even built and painted the Onslaught Gatling cannon. So you can move this, but it is a bit tight from the wash stage still. Yeah, it moves sort of. Yeah, here we have the Redemptor Dreadnought built and painted. I've added a few extra details. I've put some purity seals. I've got a Ultramarine U taken from a land speeder kit, and a little honor marking here taken from the Centurions. But yeah, I followed the paint guide, and you do get a lovely end result. So you can see the white there at the very top of the plasma accelerator, and here we see it still moves, and if we gently pull, we can swap out for that assault cannon if we so choose. So I've also added a bit of parchment here just to make opening up easier. There we can see the inside, and I've painted the laurels using Warp Lightning contrast paint. I think that looks a lot better, and then gave the non-oil wash over the top. So yeah, really cool. A lot of components on this model are movable. We have the chest guns here, which are a little stiff, but they can move. There we go. And of course, have both arms can move in and out. This arm has fully working elbow joint and a wrist swivel. So he is really, really posable, even after being fully painted. On this side, I've given him the Third Company stripe, and pretty much the back is as it is. Not a lot of detail added there yet. The only thing I have Left to do to this guy is add some transfers and give him a varnish, but that can be done at a later date. Yeah, he is a wonderful model. It's fun that you can actually pose him. So he's a kind of a mini action figure. So you can even rotate your shoulders so you can punch people. And gun them down. Bang, 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 punch, punch, bang, bang. So yeah, really good model. It's a painter's delight. You can do so much with it. I've left the base on this guy a little basic at the moment, but I might stick some extra details down before I give this guy a varnish. But like I said, all I've got to do left is apply a few transfers, which if we bring back in issue 88's front cover, we can see a beautiful third company Dreadnought here. So yeah, definitely worth adding some extra detail to him. And we've got some first company veteran intercessors there. So that's it for this part of the collection. We've built and painted our Redemptor Dreadnought, and he's ready to stomp all over the battlefields of the 41st millennium. So let me know what you thought of this in the comment section down below. And I will see you next time on the Imperium journey. We have just 2 more issues left to do, and they are 2 cracking characters, and the paint guides are done really well. Pretty masterful techniques used in some of them. But there we have it. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next time on the Imperium journey. Thank you again, and goodbye.